Hi, this is Dr. Joanny, the creator of the Ultimate Anti-Aging Program and founder of Harmony Health. Welcome to my latest video about what causes aging. Today I'll talk to you about the different kinds of stress in Chinese medicine. In my last video, I told you that stress is the major cause of aging in people. I also mentioned a little bit that there are different kinds of stress in Chinese medicine. So why is it important to differentiate? It's because stress just isn't stress in Chinese medicine. It's because you're an individual with a unique constitution and set of circumstances. You're unlike anybody else. So when Chinese medicine is practiced in its correct spirit, it's all about you and a unique solution custom tailored to your needs. Modern medicine, on the other hand, is so set on physical proof of disease, it doesn't quite know what to do about stress. They can't see it. So even for psychological disorders, they keep looking at the brain. But stress is about how you feel. The brain isn't a feeling organ. It's a tool for thinking. And yes, a very important tool, but it's the wrong place to look when it comes to stress. Well, you're already aware of a number of different emotions and feelings. They're with you during parts of the day, maybe most of the day, maybe at night too. They're categorized in Chinese medicine because they affect you in different ways. That's why there are different types of stress. And they have very definite effects on your body. So what I'm going to present to you today is by no means exhaustive, but you'll see that I'll still be covering quite a bit. So let's look at some definitions. Let's start with emotion: feeling, sentiment, reaction, response. Next, let's go to feelings: sensation, sense, intuition, gut feeling, emotion, belief. The definition for feelings is much more complex and numerous depending upon context, but it's interesting to see that you can actually use the words feelings and emotion interchangeably depending on the context. You know, it's not that feelings are bad for you. On the contrary, they are your inner guidance system to tell you what's good or bad for you. It's when you feel negative emotions over a very long time, or even due to a sudden shock, that's when they affect your health. Emotions aren't the only things that affect your body's health, but stress is a very big factor and also today's topic. So let's go to the very first group of emotions and feelings. These include anger, whether it's excessively expressed or repressed, frustration, irritability, and resentment. Now, how do these emotions affect the body? Well, they affect the liver. The liver is the seat of anger. In Chinese medicine, it governs the movement of energy in the body and mind, sexual and reproductive function, digestion, and the ligaments, just to name a few things. So, when you're living with a lot of these emotions, you may experience excessive sighing, depression, moodiness, acid regurgitation, stomach upset, difficulty swallowing or choking, a feeling of a lump in the throat that you can't get rid of, a red face, headaches, insomnia, just to name a few things. For women, they may also experience frequently painful or irregular menstrual periods. So these emotions can also affect fertility in both men and women. You may experience pain under the rib cage. In fact, it may be so painful that it can be mistaken for a heart attack if the pain occurs on the left-hand side, which is exactly what happened to a client of mine. She came in for a regular session with me that week. She told me what she had experienced during the weekend. She had experienced very sharp pains on the left side of her body. Fearing the worst, she went to emergency and got checked over. She got the usual tests, like EKG and stress testing. She was prescribed a drug and sent home. But you know what? The doctors actually didn't find anything organically wrong with her. In fact, there was nothing wrong with her heart. And the drug only made her feel worse, since they made an incorrect diagnosis. She actually stopped taking her medication. So when she described to me what had happened, I immediately knew what it was and created a treatment protocol for the liver meridian, which runs all the way from the toes up to the chest. One of the points that I chose is located just underneath the breast on the left side, and she immediately felt calm. It was that quick. You see, she'd been thinking about how badly she wanted to retire when she had this episode. She had worked herself into a major upset, and the result was severe chest pains. But the correct Chinese diagnosis with the correct treatment plan helped her to let go of the anger and frustration that she was feeling. Now let's go on to the second set of emotions, which is bereavement, sadness, grief, worry, and guilt. Now, people feel this way because of a major loss of some kind that really matters to them. It could be a loss of a loved one, a job loss, a disaster of some sort where they lost their home or livelihood. It's a pretty traumatic loss. And so, what do these emotions affect? They affect the lungs. The lungs are in charge of your immune system, the skin, and energy production in Chinese medicine. When people feel these emotions very strongly for a very long time, and even when they've been repressed, they may experience asthma, allergies, cough, frequent colds and flus, dry skin, other skin disorders like psoriasis, and insomnia, just to name a few things. In cases where the feelings of sadness, grief, or worry are quite deep, there is also lung cancer, breast cancer, and skin cancer. So, in case study number 2, I had an elderly client who came to me with shoulder pain and immobility. He'd been suffering with this for 25 years. He tried so many other therapies short of surgery with only temporary relief. In fact, he had just come from a very painful experience with a physiotherapist when he talked to a friend who was actually one of my clients, and he decided to try me out too. It was during the intake that he revealed a very sad story. It was 25 years ago at that time when his wife tragically committed suicide. He never had a chance to make peace with her before her death. He developed shoulder and upper arm pain almost immediately, which he thought was due to playing squash. He let me know that he had let go of the grief and sadness due to her death. But besides the pain, he had also experienced insomnia, waking up very early in the AM hours. Nothing worked for him until I identified for him what the real issue was and helped him to release the emotional pain he'd been carrying around in his arm for 25 years. Today, he's back to enjoying life and sleeping much better. Okay, so what's the third group of emotions? The third group includes fear, shock, anxiety, worry, and shame. And these emotions affect the kidneys. The kidneys are in charge of reproduction and fertility. All of your bones, the lower part of your body, including the lower back, the hips, the legs, knees, ankles, and feet. If you feel these emotions over a very long time, you begin to experience pain or discomfort, especially in the lower back and knees. You may be waking up at night to go to the bathroom once or more times. You may have hearing problems or tinnitus, which is ringing in the ears. You may experience night sweats and or hot flashes, or you could experience the very opposite, which is feeling cold all the time, no matter how much clothing you put on or how warm the weather is. It all depends on what's going on in your body. So, in this particular case, I had a client who used to be almost incontinent during the day and night, constantly. She was going through pure misery. She couldn't go far without looking frantically for a bathroom. So that meant she couldn't travel freely just anywhere new without having to get to know where all the facilities were. She'd seen a urologist who recommended surgery. She had two options: wear a catheter for the rest of her life or get a bladder transplant. And neither option suited her at all. She asked him if there was a way to prevent all of this, but she never got an answer from him because, well, he didn't have an answer. So, upon listening to her and getting to know her, it became very apparent early on that she had very little self-esteem. She didn't stand up for herself with family and co-workers. She didn't believe in herself, even though she's very accomplished and competent at what she does. She was afraid of what people thought of her. And even her subconscious dominated her dreams with feelings of inferiority. She worried continuously about getting to a bathroom in time. So the more she worried about it, the more fearful she became, and the worse her incontinence became. But after working with her really hard for several weeks, the pivotal moment came when she told me that in a dream, she finally said no to an old boyfriend who had unceremoniously dumped her 10 years ago, and until that moment hadn't let go of the hurt that she felt. She was finally on the road to believing in herself. Her life improved to the point where she was no longer looking for a washroom every few minutes. She could sit through an entire business meeting, and she could drive for a few hours without having to stop. She was doing fantastic. Now we have a fourth group. Dealing with all the emotions. Okay, so what fuels all the emotions? It's the heart. And if you've got a constitution that is weak in that part of the body, you'll suffer from heart disease, breast cancer, and circulatory problems. So how you handle your emotions makes a big difference to how you handle stress. Because stress isn't just stress. Stress definitely affects you in ways that you were probably unaware of until now. But let's address the root cause. Get to the heart of the matter, which are your bad or negative feelings, which you can clear up. Any conditions that you may have now, and also prevent other things from happening in the future. So, would you prefer long-lasting results or short-term relief? Thank you so much for viewing this video. I'll be back with more. Have a great day. Bye. This is Dr. Joanny, the creator of the Ultimate Anti-Aging Program and founder of Harmony Health. Until next time.